Resident Evil 3 Remake is a game of two parts, and as such we'll have to discuss both parts in the review to give it a fair shake. The first part is the remake of the single-player campaign of Resident Evil 3, and for the most part it's a pretty decent campaign. There are a couple of annoyances. Some of the later enemy types having one-hit kills is unexpected and not particularly fun. And there's a bit of linearity to the game. Like, this is from the demo area, is where we're hanging out at the moment, primarily because of the fact that I don't really want to spoil any of the rest of it. It's not a super long campaign. My first playthrough took about 7 hours of gameplay for a total playtime of 5.5 hours of actually playing the game, according to the stat screens at the end anyway, for a C rank. And I enjoyed it, but it's a bit shorter than Resident Evil 2. As such, I'd still recommend Resident Evil 2 over this for a single player proposition. It is greatly aided by the fact that there is an extensive item shop that unlocks after you finish the game, giving you greater incentive to play through and do stuff like get kills with certain numbers of weapons, certain numbers of times, defeat certain enemies, find collectibles, find files, speedrun the game, beat the game without using healing items, which is a remarkable challenge, or get your pathing down right to complete the game without opening an item box. And then you can reward yourself with stuff like extra weapons, extra new abilities, having things that enhance your attack and dodge. The main thing that's different from 2 is the dodge ability, which lets you navigate your way through the streets a little bit easier. You can get perfect dodges with the right timing, which I mostly got by mistake, which allow you to then get slow motion aiming on enemies, but I can count the number of times I triggered that in a campaign in one hand. I'd probably have to get good at that if I was going to be playing on a harder difficulty level, which I intend to do at some point. But as a Resident Evil campaign, it's pretty good. You get to shoot a lot of zombies, pick up a lot of weapons, have some challenging boss fights, read a lot of files, get some good cutscenes. Like, it's perfectly fine. If it was just Resident Evil 3 on its own, I would say it's probably not worth $60, but it's not on its own. It comes with Resident Evil 3 Resistance, Resident Evil Resistance, which is the online multiplayer part. So we're going to have a seamless transition. This is the Resistance game mode, where I'm currently playing a practice game against the AI because I need to show off the fact that you can do a variety of things. It's not particularly easy to do that when you're playing with real people. Plus, there's also the fact that you really get to actually play as the mastermind when you're playing against real people. When you're playing the Mastermind, you get to do stuff like take control of zombies and attack 4 human people, which can be kind of fun. It looks like they're actually going to win this game before I even get the chance to do anything, just because of the fact that the AI is already getting attacked by the other AI. Survivors and Mastermind gameplay is quite different and quite good fun. It's not saying that Resistance isn't without its flaws. It has an annoying leveling system when you're playing as the survivors, because you have to level each one of them individually, and that can be incredibly difficult just because of the simple fact that other people might pick your character before you. So like, say if you've been leveling up Tyrone and he's the only character you've got any unlocks for, you might not be able to play him because of the fact that someone else pressed X first on the lobby. And that's kind of annoying. The other thing is that the wait times for games are kind of long. Like, I was playing last night and it was taking 4 minutes of time to find a game when I was not picking anyone in particular that I wanted to play as. Or Mastermind or Survivors, I mean. So that's not ideal. We're about to win as the Mastermind because the survivors have run out of time. But basically, Project Resistance is a kind of time-based thing where the Mastermind wants to reduce the timer to 0 and survivors want to escape before that happens. Dealing damage to survivors reduces the timer. Survivors can extend the timer by destroying the traps the Mastermind has placed, killing creatures and solving puzzles. The puzzles are not exactly in the standard Resident Evil level, but there are long lines of go in an area, find items and return them to the lock. So they do the job for the purposes of multiplayer. It's fun to play as both, crucially. being a mastermind or survivor can result in some quite tense games. I've enjoyed what time I've had with it, and again, if this was on its own for $60, I wouldn't recommend it, but as part of the complete package with Resident Evil 3, you're getting an enjoyable, replayable single-player campaign, and you've got a fun multiplayer game you can jump into for a couple of matches and have a good time, even with strangers. So, altogether, I think it's a pretty good buy. Like, if you want to wait on it going on a sale, you can. They are separate downloads in the bundle for Resident Evil 3 and Resistance, so that suggests that it might be sold separately down the way. And if you want to wait and get one or the other, then do. But hey, it's not like you haven't got free time at the moment. I think they're both good fun, and I think they're worth buying. So, thanks for watching.